Yahoo CEO Marissa Meyer says the company is proceeding with the Alibaba spinoff as proposed. Shares moved higher on the comments. Meyer spoke earlier at the Bloomberg Technology Conference in San Francisco.
We're proceeding with our plan as proposed, and it's based on an understanding of a few key things. One is the contemplated changes that have been communicated to date don't apply to previously received requests for rulings. And our ruling was actually, we filed for it well in advance of when these changes were communicated. The other thing that gives us some confidence is it doesn't seem that these proposed changes actually are contemplating changing the applicable law. And so it's more about the processes around these types of transactions and less about the applicable law.
Meyer also said she wants to do more with the National Football League. Scarlet.
All right, no sign of compromise from Greece's prime minister today. In a speech to the Greek parliament, Alexis Tsipras accused the IMF of criminal responsibility for Greece's problems. And he said the ECB's tactics are strangling his country. Greece's bailout money ends at the end of the month. Not everyone is worried about a Greek default. Here's Algebris Investment CEO Davide Serra.
Greece defaults on public sector, basically no big deal, is a washout. The ECB has decided to print 1.6 trillion. A Greek default amounts to about 120 billion.
Okay.
Governments have already issued those bonds, the EU joint bonds, and basically will be a default paid. You move on.
Greek officials have indicated they will not offer any more concessions in exchange for unlocking the funds.
The European Union's highest court has given ECB President Mario Draghi another tool to use in case of crisis. The court ruled Draghi and the ECB did not go too far when they unveiled a bond buying program in 2012. That happened right after Draghi declared he would do whatever it takes to save the euro. That program still has not been tapped.
Fitbit is counting on investors getting hooked on the prospects of its wearable fitness devices. It has now increased the target size of its IPO by as much as 37%. At the high end of the offering range, Fitbit would be valued at almost $4 billion. The company is profitable, but it will need to show it can keep growing even with increased competition. The company is expected to price its IPO tomorrow after the closing bell.
It has been a busy couple of months for U.S. home builders. A new report shows that since April, builders started work on the most houses in 7 years. That's despite a bigger than expected drop in housing starts last month. Meanwhile, permits for future projects climbed to the highest level in almost 8 years. That's an indication that home building activity is likely to pick up.
Billionaire TV personality and real estate mogul Donald Trump is running for the Republican presidential nomination. Trump launched his campaign earlier today in New York. He said the U.S. has, quote, become a dumping ground for other people's problems. And he vowed to get tough on radical Islam.
Islamic terrorism is eating up large portions of the Middle East. They become rich. I'm in competition with them. They just built a hotel in Syria. Can you believe this? They built a hotel. When I have to build a hotel, I pay interest. They don't have to pay interest because they took the oil that when we left Iraq, I said we should have taken. So now ISIS has the oil.
Trump released a one-page document detailing $9.2 billion in assets and $503 million in liabilities.
A U.S. Justice Department investigation into money laundering controls at Citigroup's Banamex USA unit has uncovered potential violations. According to people familiar with the investigation, they are serious enough to merit a fine. Prosecutors are looking in part at emails from lower-level employees at the unit. The investigation isn't expected to be finished until next year. Citigroup said the bank is cooperating fully with the U.S. government.
And billionaire investor Kirk Kerkorian has passed away. He was known as a key figure in the reshaping of Las Vegas and a former owner of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Kerkorian also had an auto industry interest as well, because he once owned almost 10% of GM and tried or attempted a hostile takeover of Chrysler. He died yesterday in Los Angeles. Kirk Kerkorian was 98 years old.